Hi, personal injury attorney Mark Berman here, and today's topic is how long does an injury case take from start to finish? Let's say first that, of course, injury claims are very stressful. To begin with, there's the stress of the accident itself. Then, there's the galling fact that, through no fault of your own, someone else injured you. It doesn't matter whether you suffer the injury in a car accident, or in a slip and fall, or through medical malpractice, or by exposure to toxic substances like asbestos, or whether a dog bit you. Any way you slice it, you endured great pain and suffering. You had to go through many months of medical treatment. You may have had medical bills that insurance doesn't cover. In severe cases, you may have permanent injuries that will never heal. Injury claims are stressful. So, let's say after the accident, you do the right thing. You immediately hire an experienced personal injury lawyer. Now you want to know, how long will the case take? Well, the short answer is that the great majority of injury cases resolve within 1 to 4 years from the date of the accident. Now you say, 1 to 4 years sounds like a long time. Why do injury cases take so long to resolve? The answer is simple. Your personal injury lawyer will not know exactly how much your case is worth until your injuries heal. In many cases, it can take well over a year before the injuries heal. Or, in the case of a permanent injury, heal as well as it's going to. In other words, your injury lawyer wants to get you full compensation for your injuries. Compensation is based upon how severe your injury is and whether it's permanent or not. And the fact is that we won't know that usually until some time passes. That's why we have to let some time pass to see how severe your injury is going to be long term before we can assign a value to your case and then attempt to settle your case. The upshot is that because of what I just mentioned, personal injury lawyers generally not even attempt to begin to settle injury claims until about a year or so has passed since the accident. Again, your attorney will wait until, or will likely wait in most cases, there are some exceptions which I'll get into, but generally he'll wait until your injuries fully heal to make sure we know how severe they are, how severe any disability will be. Again, that's how a good personal injury lawyer ensures that you get every dollar of compensation that you deserve. Now, if your injuries heal more rapidly, your lawyer will start the settlement process sooner. Usually, a personal injury attorney will first try to settle the claim out of court, that is, through negotiations, without having to file a lawsuit. But sometimes, even with the best efforts, the insurance company simply will not make a fair offer. In that case, a lawsuit has to be filed. Once a lawsuit is filed, that's a lawsuit in court, of course, the court case will typically take 1 or 2 years to resolve. Now you may ask, why does a court case take 1 or 2 years to resolve? Well, it's because of certain procedures that have to be followed under the court rules. I'll give you some examples. Each party to the lawsuit just usually will have to answer written questions posed by the other party. They're called interrogatories. Usually each party will have to sit for what's called a deposition. That's out-of-court testimony, usually in a lawyer's office, but under oath. Either side to the lawsuit can file a motion at any time asking the judge to take certain action. Those motions take a few weeks each. One example is sometimes a lawyer will ask that the other side's case be dismissed as legally unsound, for example, or lacking evidence. Every time a motion is done, both lawyers have to write long legal papers and what are called legal briefs, which actually are misnamed because they're very long. All that takes time. In addition, each side will usually hire expert witnesses who must write reports, and they have to sit for depositions. The most common example of an expert witness in a personal injury case would be a doctor. For example, a doctor who will testify as to the severity of your injuries. All of the above takes a lot of preparation time. Then there's the scheduling issues. For the things that require in-person appearances like depositions, you have to be able to get everybody, that is the lawyers, the clients, and the witness, if need be, all in the same room at the same time. So it's not so easy sometimes to find a date that's good for everyone. For all those reasons, from the time a lawsuit is filed, it usually takes at least another year, often longer, before the court clerk can first schedule the case for a trial. Now, just as in the case of the other pretrial proceedings, there can be scheduling conflicts when the case is scheduled for trial. Therefore, a trial does not usually take place on the first date that the court selects. Usually, the judge will adjourn the trial at least once or twice before an acceptable date is achieved. Because of the court's busy schedule, 2 months or more can easily elapse between such adjournments. Keep in mind that just because your attorney files an injury lawsuit doesn't mean that your case will actually go to trial. Statistically, even after a lawsuit is filed, the vast majority of cases settle before a trial takes place. Some other things to note. If your injuries take more than, let's say, 2 years to heal, in New Jersey at least, your lawyer still must file a lawsuit within 2 years. That's because, generally speaking, the deadline to file a personal injury lawsuit in New Jersey is 2 years from the date of the accident. Again, like most things in the law, there are a couple exceptions. The deadline can be longer in a case where, say, you had no way of knowing within 2 years that you suffered an injury. That's an unusual case. That sometimes arises in a medical malpractice case where there's an operation, doesn't go well, and you don't realize, you had no reason to realize that the doctor messed up until another doctor told you that he did, for example. Another example where you might not know you were injured for 2 years or more would be an asbestos exposure case where the disease might not manifest itself. The cancer might not arise for many years after the exposure. That's another example. Now, some cases actually have other deadlines that are sooner than 2 years. Some cases have 90-day deadlines. An example of that is a case against a government entity. Again, not the common case, but they do arise. Just remember, though, that what I've just told you are the deadlines in New Jersey. Each state has its own deadlines, which can be longer and shorter, or shorter rather, than those in New Jersey. In sum, while the duration varies in any individual case, because of the reasons I've just given you, injury cases on the whole, from start to finish, usually take 1 to 4 years to resolve from the date of the accident. Hope I've answered all your questions on this topic. If you have any further questions, or if you would want to speak to me for any reason, or if you have an accident case that you need representation on, feel free to call me anytime. My number is 888-316-8288, and you can speak to me personally then. For now, Mark Berman, personal injury attorney. Until next time.